Hey there. I just wanted to give you some idea of what you're doing next week. I know it's a short week, and I imagine you're probably like, come on, miss, it's like beautiful outside. It's 11 o'clock on a Sunday. Leave us alone. But this is what I have time to do this video, so I'm hoping to just run over quickly like I usually do what's due this week. You'll notice there are two things as per usual. The last part of your summative is due, and I'm going to change that date to the 25th because I think when I was planning this out I forgot that it was a long weekend. So it will be due on Wednesday, and then the press release will be due on Friday. So let's go in there. You can see that this is pretty much the end. Unit 6, there's one task to do, and the idea is that you're done your report by the time that you start it. So really, after this week, you're going to evaluate someone else's summative in its entirety. Just there's a checklist to go through, and you can also use that checklist to evaluate your own. I want all level 3s and 4s on this task. There's no excuse. We've been working on it for the last 2 months. You got feedback from me, you got feedback hopefully from your peers, or you will continue getting feedback from your peers last week and this week. And I really want to make sure that everyone gets a good mark on this task because there is no exam in the course. This is worth half, and then the second task is worth half of your 30% summative marks. So this week, however, we are working on part 5 and the press release. So let's go there. We're so close, and it's so beautiful outside. The end is really near, guys. So we've got to step it up and make sure that we don't lose focus in the last 30 days of the course. Because at this time next month, you'll be writing your exams and you'll be done with fashion. Alright, so here we're talking about fashion promotion, and there's a bunch of really great information in the content about how people promote in the fashion industry. And if you're interested in marketing or anything like that, this is the unit for you. And what you're going to be doing here is you're going to be doing a press release for your designer. And so you're going to use the information that you saw in the content about market segments and promoting a product to create this promotional mix. And you're going to be asked to do this for your own store, not a press release specifically, but talk about the four-pronged approach, so advertising, special events and promotions, PR, and publicity, and visual merchandising, how you use that in your summative store. So what I want you to do is take the role of someone in the fashion designer's team. Chanel has a huge team of people that do various things, and one of those people would be a promotional director. So these people would be responsible for making sure that the image of Chanel is being promoted in the way that they want it to be, and also that the name is out there, because fashion is all about brand. So the promotional director is concerned with the branding of the designer. So I'd like you to pick a designer, any designer you want. It could be a designer that you've already looked at and that you're familiar with, or it could be a new designer, or it could be a designer from your summative that you're going to use for merchandising, whatever works for you. And I want you to save some images of the collection to use in your press release. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a press release about the upcoming collection, and there's a really good numbered list as to what you need to do. So you're going to put the company's name, address, logo, anything like that on the top, and you can use that information from the designer's website. You're going to include your contact information. You're going to note the date in which you want the information to be released. So maybe you're going to write this press release and it's going to be released in 2 weeks because it takes time for you to write it. Or maybe you're going to write the press release and you're going to expect the information to be out there immediately. So you come up with a headline for the information that you want to portray. And then you're going to include the facts of the collection. So maybe the theme, who would wear it, fabrics, embellishments. Anything you see here You might also want to think about who would actually wear the clothing. So, for example, Chanel releases to a different like segment of society than Forever 21. So consider that. And then in the second part, you're writing who the retailer would be interested in selling the collection to. So you want to consider the customer's needs and wants. And then you can add an image of the collection. You could either present it on a separate page or you could embed it right in your text, like some of you have been doing on your reports already. So, you can quote the designer in your press release. So if you see any like cool things that the designer has said that's like completely relevant to what you said, you can totally quote them, but please don't quote any other source. Like, don't talk about like what Beyonce thinks about the new collection, just the designer. You want to keep it as like focused on the brand as possible, not what other people necessarily think of the brand, because a press release is you telling them what to think about the brand. And then any of the research you're doing is in APA. So in the content, just going back to this, it shows various types of advertising and different ways that people would advertise their work. But the part that I want you to focus on is the press release. I'm just trying to remind myself if there is a sample of a press release. So this is a very simple press release, and this is what I'm looking for. It doesn't need to be more than a page. You can see the logo, the title. This is an older press release. You can see it's kind of like ugly. But it's totally, this is like the amount of text I'm looking for, maximum. So, I can try to find another picture of a press release to show you another example if you want a fashion example, and I can post that to the assignment page. So, that's what you're doing this week in regards to course content, and remember that this information will be used similarly on your summative, because the last part of your summative, steps 8, 9, and 10, is the promotion. So you're going to talk about what the interior of the store is going to look like, how you're going to display your merchandise, so like mannequins, are you going to have a big front window, what kind of props are you going to use, and also the retail promotion. So you're going to talk about your promotional goals and objectives. So you can use a press release, or you could also use any of the other things that you've mentioned in that were mentioned in the course content. So the same kind of thing you're going to post to your peer group discussion board that you've been working on last week, and you're going to what you're going to do this week is you're going to give someone else, or at least 2 people, a constructive feedback on one thing they can do to make their summative better. So you don't have to talk about things that they've done well. That's totally okay. I just want you to focus on if at the very least you have to have one piece of constructive feedback. So your peers should be able to take that piece of information and actually make their summative better. So maybe it's something that they missed, like they forgot. This is a big chunk of text, so maybe people forgot one of the things that you're supposed to do, or maybe it's something that doesn't make sense or make as much sense, or maybe it's an area that you see to improve by like inserting a visual or changing something around. So that's the task for this week. The press release is a little bit bigger, and then the discussion board, you can do all of this in point form if you want, and the reply is just talking about something that they could fix or something they could make better in their summative. So I hope that makes sense. We're in the home stretch, so stay focused, stay awesome, and listen to my feedback for parts 1, 2, and 3, because I've done all of the feedback for those 3 tasks. So have a great weekend.